I have to cut my schedule up so specifically to this is my dedicated time for sales and growth. This is my dedicated time to chip away at the route because I am my technician.
Yep.
I am my sales guy.
Yep.
I am my admin. Big mistake I made was hiring too early.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
When
Kill
again, I've been doing pest control since 2014.
Okay.
And so I knew the technician side of things like the back of my hand.
Nice.
And I've always prided myself on my people skills.
Right.
I'm a people person. I tell people all the time I kill bugs because it's something that I learned and I'm pretty good at it. But what I love is people. I love engagement. And so yeah, making that mistake, I didn't realize how fast payroll would money just flies out the window. And people have no idea. And then
taxes, insurance,
100%.
workers' comp.
A new truck. All of the things, man.
Fuel.
All of the things that you don't. And I'm blessed enough to, have my business partner, Bob Cantu.
Yes. Solid dude.
Who is, been running businesses far longer than I have, obviously. And, he had that wisdom of, hey man, we're bleeding.
Right.
And so again, it was a valuable lesson learned, and once we figured out how to navigate, what to do with that employee, actually Bob, being the gracious guy that he is, actually just brought him over as a home inspector.
Nice.
And they were like, we don't, not there for the pest control yet, but if you want to slide over here and, we'll keep you on board. And
nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, so, and then it was, nose to the grindstone from there of like, I really had to, people, it comes across as cheesy and corny until you realize how true it is of like the entrepreneurial type people who are like, you gotta have systems in place. You're raving on the same stuff everybody else, but you really do, man. And I really had to dial into like, okay, I have to cut my schedule up so specifically to this is my dedicated time for sales and growth. This is my dedicated time to chip away at the route because I am my technician.
Yep.
I am my sales guy. Yep. I am my admin. I am, and that's what I had to realize is like, dude, for now, until you really build it to what it is, you have to wear all the hats.
Oh yeah.
And that was a big lesson learned for me. And again, like I said, it will try to break you, day in and day out. But man, that's why I use that term, stressfully blessed, man, because it's if you let it be lessons and not losses,
right,
it'll change who you are as a person in a lot of positive ways.
And I think that's something that it's so hard in the beginning when it's like same thing with me, like mistake. But now you learn where not to step, right? So it's like, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm better now. And so I'm getting zoned in more on my lane. Then I made another mistake. I'm like, oh, don't step there.
100%.
You start to get tighter, operate more. You have to be careful though, because some of the things that may hurt, and like some people may take that same lesson and been like, oh wow, I just shouldn't hire employees, because some people are very limited mind, and then so you have to make sure that you don't get baggage from the mistakes, but you really evaluate what was the mistake. It wasn't hiring somebody. Like hiring is essential, but it was hiring at the wrong time, right? Correct. And so how to turn those lessons, what do you say? Not losses, lessons. Is that what you said? Yeah, I like that. And making sure that those are the right lesson learned.
Yep.
Is huge.
100%. Yeah, and I agree. And I've encountered so many, one-man operations that, their mindset, they're so stuck to that. I tried.
Gotta have it perfect.
I tried preaching to one guy inside of where I get my products from.
Yeah.
And he kind of hit me with that, oh, how old are you? And oh, well, I've been doing this way longer than you. Trust me, I know what I'm talking. I'm like, okay, buddy, whatever you say. But he was just so set on like, if you hire somebody, they're never gonna do it the way you do it. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
God forbid they do it better than you.
Correct, dude. Correct.
That's one thing.
Man, they say work yourself out of it. and hire yourself out of a job, you know what I mean? And that is the goal. And that's again what I was trying to tell this gentleman. And one of the ways I did struggle in the beginning to give up control.
Right.
And
it's hard.
Especially when, again, like I said, that first year really tried to break me. And then now I'm starting to build this reputation locally. The name is starting to get recognized. I'm growing. Word of mouth is traveling better and better. And so I'm like, man, somebody could really mess up this reputation for me if I'm not careful. So one of the things I do when I train somebody and put them on their own is for the first 2 weeks of them being out on their own. If they've got 10 stops per day, I'll call at least 4 of those customers.
That's awesome.
And just say, hey, how was your experience with such and such today?
That's
and if they were like, oh, well, he just did the outside, I didn't talk to him. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll call the next one. I'm going to call until it's somebody who had an actual encounter with them, saw them do the service. And if it's, if it's mostly positive, occasionally you get some of those people who are like, well, he didn't do it the way you do it. And I'm like, okay, but did he do a good job?
Yes,
he may have done things in a different order. He may have, but did he miss any webs? Did he, do you feel like the quality was not there? No, it was a quality service. It just wasn't quite the way you do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the other thing is like, you have to take that with a grain of salt too. Because some people are just going to be bitter that it's, especially when you go from being just you and you've been so easy to get a hold of and it's you every time, and then you start sending them other people and they, again, they hit you with that. Well, how come you're not coming out? That's because I'm trying to grow.
That's part of developing and growing, right?
But, Aaron's awesome, Chad's awesome, let me know how your experience was with them. And like I said, as long as it's 95, percent positive, I'm content with them being out on their own.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's like, one thing that I realized when I started developing leaders and people inside the company was these people are better at what we're doing than I am. I'm like, dude, I'm not very consistent when it comes to like the same thing every day, but I was able to implement somebody into a position that if you're not consistent, it's hard to be successful. And I was so relieved when I got taken out of that position, because I still showed up consistently the majority of the time, but it took so much effort from me, and it was not my natural ability or skill. And then for him, it's just like every day, easy, no problem, showing up consistent, meeting his things he needed to, and it's just like, oh, thank God.
100%. When you feel like you're the square peg trying to be put in a round hole, like it's very, very mentally draining.
That's one thing that I've took more energy, time, and effort, and also money, and invested in, the DISC personality tests. So there's like the DISC personality test, there's the 6 working genius personality test, and there's also another one called that I found that I like the most. I just took it. It's I think it's by Gallup or something, the 34 core strengths. And when you take a lot of these things, you learn more about yourself. Like, what are my skills? What are my natural tendencies? And what are my strengths? And when I realized what some of my strengths are and what some of my weaknesses are, it was amazing, because I was excited. Like, no wonder I am good at XYZ, and no wonder, no matter how I try, I still suck at XYZ over here. And I think it painted a lot of clarity for me to, in school they teach you to be really well-rounded, right? But I think that's a lie, so everybody can be mediocre. I believe you should do your best to specialize in wherever your strengths are, because then you can run 1,000,000 miles an hour having fun, and it feels effortless, and you can accomplish an incredible amount of things. And then for whatever your weaknesses are, hire for those things. So that way, for that guy that showed up consistently every day and did all of his stuff consistently that I could barely even do, he's going to make 40 times more progress effortlessly in his position. And then together, we're unstoppable team. And so, like, focusing on like taking those tests and learning what my skills are, and then learning my other leaders that I'm leading, learning what their strengths and weaknesses are, and make sure that they're sitting in the right seat, dude, it's like a hack. So it's like a leadership and efficiency and buy-in hack. I can't say enough about that stuff.
No, absolutely.
It's a lot
of
fun.
agree.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have you thought about taking some of those personality tests yet?
Oh man, I took one, but that was like, back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Bob encouraged me to.
Yeah.
But I really should, since having
cool.
achieved the growth that I have achieved,
yes, with your
and
team.
I don't just mean that as the business, I mean that as personal.
Right.
I would actually, love to do that again, just to.
It's cheap. It's like $50 or $60.
Really?
And dude, takes you about an hour. And if you take it, and then both your guys take it, dude, it's like you guys can compare and be like, oh, dude, you're doing that. No wonder you suck at that. Like, let's take that off your plate. I love doing that. Let me do that. Or my admin loves to let her do that. Like, and you kind of shift. And what it does is it makes people happier too.
Right.
Like,
because they're actually doing what they love.
Yeah.
You're not. Again, it's not a square peg trying to force itself into a round hole.
Dude, exactly. I love that saying. So tell me a little bit, if you don't mind sharing, like, there's so many ways businesses can be done, like sole proprietorship, like one single guy in a truck forever, big corporations. But tell me, like, how did you meet Bob, and how has he helped you in the journey, and how does that relationship work? Because I don't know if there's a lot of clarity of the potential options that business owners could do. Like, I guess for lack of better words, what I'm trying to say is, like, people think they need to be all on their own or be a part of a big corporation. Like, how does the partnership work with you guys?
Mm-hmm.
How do you find somebody like him to help you grow and mentor and be a part of the business? Like, how does all that work, if you don't mind?
I met Bob actually through Grace Church.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, as a teen, she was my girlfriend at the time, but my wife actually babysat Bob's kids every now and then. Like, that's how far back it goes.
Sweet.
But Bob, I was probably maybe a year or two into pest control for somebody else.
So you started on your own.
I started with I was just a tech for somebody else.
Okay, started as tech.
Yep. So, and Bob and his home inspection company, Bob's an entrepreneur at his core, man. He's an entrepreneur through and through. But he approached me probably a year or two into my career in pest control and was just like, hey, I own the home inspection company. I sub out all my termite inspections, but I'd like to have it in-house. So, what would that look like for you?
Yeah.
And I was so new. I just had my first kid. I'm living in this, rinky-dink duplex in North Fort Myers. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm not ready for something like that. I'm in my low 20s.
Right.
Just not ready. Not, I'm content where I'm at.
Yeah. Good.
Well, I just got this raise, which at the time was nothing. But I was like, thanks, but no thanks. And throughout my career in pest control, I've had multiple people make me that type of offer. I had one customer that I was doing an attic restoration for, and he really liked my approach and how I presented myself, whatever. And he's like, hey, if you ever want to do this on your own, I'll fund it. You run it.
That'd be crazy.
But again, it was one of those, and then, I've had some family ask, like I've had multiple offers like that, but Bob was very persistent, like probably once a year, or every 2 years sometime, but I want to say within like a 4 or 6 year span, he kept, he just bumped me on the shoulder and be like, hey man, this is still something I'm thinking about. Like I'm growing the home inspection company. I'm still subbing out those termite inspections. Like, and I'm like, I'm okay. And then it was around COVID times, and it was like the final straw. He's like, I'm going to start a pest control company. I want you to be the guy. If you're not, just let me know and I'll find someone else. And I was like, funny you should say that. I feel like I've kind of ran my course with who I'm with. Let's have a conversation. And so
no way.
We met up and laid it all out on the table.
Dude,
it's I can't express my gratitude enough for that guy. Truly, because I don't say it to very many people, but he when he said, he goes, it'll be 50-50, which is huge in itself.
Yeah, it's huge.
And he goes, I will everything it takes to lay the groundwork for it. And I said, Bob, but if if it doesn't take off, if it doesn't grow, if it's not making money, I'm not in a position where I can't afford to put a roof over my family's head and food on their table. You know, I have my wife and 2 kids, and their safety and security obviously means the most to me.
Right.
And he goes, whether this thing sinks, floats, or you know, progresses, I will give you a salary for a year. Your family will not. That is not a worry that you will have to have. And I was like, if you're willing to bet on me like that, I promise you, I will do everything I can to make sure it's a winning bet. And it, like I said, that first year, so I'm again super blessed to have for his guidance, for his mentorship, and his type of mentorship is very feet to the fire.
Okay.
And
what does that mean?
So when it came to difficult situations, hiring too early, trying to navigate how to figure that out, all of these different things, customers calling him, complaining, you know, all of the things that was all new to me, as opposed to him just taking over, taking control and saying, oh, I've dealt with this type of stuff before, let me deal with it. He was very, well, what do you want to do about that?
Yeah.
What are we going to do about that?
Right.
What, you know, very put the pressure back on me, which at that time, again, it was pressure. It felt heavy. It felt very heavy. And I'm like, dude, I've never navigated these waters before. And he was always willing to listen, willing to give advice, but he very much wanted me to solve the problems.
Yeah.